out of his mind. HIDRA had a great start to this series, but he is on the ropes as we get into game number 7. On the right-hand side, it is our blue Zerg. For one last time here in Season 1, it is Root HIDRA. And to the left of Secret Springs, mounting what is, at the moment, an amazing comeback, representing CM Storm, one game away from claiming his third WCS title. It is CM Storm's POLT. Nathanius, I'm all worn out, but I've got it in me for one last game. I'm sure you do as well. This has been an amazing final.
Yeah, Secret Springs, one of the maps those of you who are brave enough to play it on ladder have seen all varieties of proxies, early pools, and every flavor of cheese you could find at the French Bakery. This is going to be a very interesting game no matter how it plays out, no matter which way these players choose to go. If you want to play standard, that's fine, but there's only 3 choke points that you can walk through on this map, Calaris. That center one is tight enough that it fits within the radius of a Widow Mine, and for any Zerg, that can mean certain death. HIDRA's going to want to make plays around the sides. He can make big Mutalisk plays, but at the same time, we've also seen Terrans play with lots of Reapers. I think POLT's just about to pass the phase where we could see that, but we have to keep our eyes open for it.
You get all sorts of crazy, weird base trade scenarios going on this map as well, with how the chokes work out, with the way you normally expand down towards your 3rd base and then 4th base, potentially from that point on. It's an amazingly hectic map that's the reason you don't see it too much, because it prompts all these very weird situations that meta on other maps are just not a thing of.
Yeah. I mean, when I think back to competitive matches that have been played on this, you're trying to pull a strategy, right? Well, we could always go back to Maru versus Life, where we just saw a bunch of Reapers.
Yeah.
And, we're already past that phase. So without a second barracks, POLT can't do that. So what else is there? And the reality is, you could try to section off those choke points with mech, but POLT doesn't do anything like that. So we have to write that off. And maybe the short rush distance can go for an all-in, but all these guys need to do is be very aware of what's going on. Any early push can be severely delayed by knocking down either one or both of those destructible rocks that we can see the Reaper now passing by.
Both players have to bring out their absolute A-game here in this final game. In map number 7 of a best of 7, it very rarely, when we have a best of 7 series, goes all the way. But POLT and HIDRA are so heavily well-matched in this final series. One can become a 3-time champion. One can seal his first ever title of all time in StarCraft 2. Whichever way this goes, everyone's a winner, apart from the 2nd place.
Well, I mean, you still get $15,000 and a hell of a lot of WCS points, but
that's pretty good.
I see your point, Calaris. No one wants to go home with the 2nd place trophy. POLT is opened up very similar to everything that we've seen prior. This is still a really good map for Reapers. I don't dislike this build. He's putting on as much pressure as he can. He can follow this up with Hellion. Key things to note because of the way this map is laid out. That 3rd base is very far away from the main ramp. If HIDRA tries to get a 3rd base anytime soon, Reaper Hellion will do a phenomenal job of punishing him for that very quickly.
POLT behind this with the double command center, just playing very, very greedy to start things off. The 2nd command center is actually in range of an overlord, so he does know on the other side that is going on. Meanwhile, quite a few Zerglings actually popping out here, 8 in total to fend this off, and the speed might kick in. Let's see if POLT can deal with that. The thing is that there are cliffs to jump up and down in the middle of this map that do make those Reapers all the more super mobile.
Oh, they're quite hard to catch. I've cheesed many a Zerg on this map, Calaris. I know all about that. It's quite a fun map to play with the Reapers. There's, as you said, so much space to work with, but you can also jump into the center positions, like those gold bases. Like, if speed finishes, POLT actually has a lot of avenues to escape through.
Well, he's going to kill off a few Zerglings. Those Zerglings moving out this far, though, does give rise to the idea that they will have speed soon. As POLT understands that, he will micro on back and get to that cliff easy peasy, and he's even looking for a few more kills, this cheeky little guy.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, he's delaying those links from moving across the map, which buys him time to do whatever it is that he wants to do. And for the purposes of this game, POLT opening up with that 2nd gas and getting this hidden starport once again. Maybe we just see him go right back to that Marine Hellbat Reaper timing.
A little bit difficult for him to spot right at the back of these mineral lines. POLT has been a tricky guy throughout this entire series. Almost in every single game, he has hid things behind the mineral line.
Yeah, what this is all going to boil down to, Kalaris, the owner of this championship could come down just to this push that POLT is preparing himself to make. HIDRA's once again gone for the fast layer. We know that he likes to play this Spire Tech. We've seen it every single game in this series, and there's the armory. POLT is preparing for one last big push. He could put himself into a winning position to take the championship, or he could throw it all away with this attack coming in just under a minute.
Season 2 Gas Guys is at the natural, and that will give rise to, again, a good vision of what is going on here. He's still on 2 base. What else is he going to be doing on 2 base as this Reaper tries to get a little bit more information? Sees another Gas Geyser, has seen 4 Gas Geysers on 2 base. Now he knows exactly what he's going to be playing against, regardless of seeing that Spire or not. These Hellbats at the front will morph in very, very soon, and even takes 4 Hellions all the way to the back.
POLT's going to split up his forces. We've seen before how this negatively affected how much success he had, because HIDRA is actually really good at fighting in the small numbers against this. We already see the Queens just pushing him away.
And he's actually just going to pick everything. Oh, such a move. Okay, he actually missed one of them there, but then he's going to bring everything up to the high ground.
This could be it. He's going to try to deal a game-winning amount of damage right here.
That's a lot of Lings he has, but that's a lot of splash damage as well in these Hellbats, as he has positioned himself between these 2 bases. Could cut off reinforcements on the right-hand side. A lot of the Lings dying off. POLT is going to be able to push on through this. The Spinecrawler has taken a ton of damage. There's the Transfusions though, trying to keep it alive. He absolutely needs to keep it alive against the Hellbats here that are punishing this position and absolutely wrecking everything.
The Queen control has been phenomenal. HIDRA lost the Spine, but it did its job, Kalaris. That Spine did its job. And guess what's on the way?
The cleanup from that point on. Here come the Mutalisks, 7 of them. Double Evolution Chamber going down while this is happening. Another hatchery on the way for that macro as he's taken his 3rd base up to the top left. It hasn't been punished. POLT hasn't even gone there at all, hasn't even spotted it. He can kind of put some idea in motion that one would be there eventually, but with the Mutalisks on the way, the Hellions can't do anything else.
At this point, HIDRA's goal, his focus needs to be A, get rid of these Hellions. B, start up the upgrades, and C, look for any opportunities to deal damage with the Mutalisks. One of the rare opportunities that HIDRA will get, because this map is Secret Springs, he can knock down those rocks with his Mutalisks and Zerglings and then just harass at the Mutas all day.
Well, he better not harass that refinery, that's for sure, because at the moment that has 2 Widow Mines behind it. Does not want to be going in that direction at all.
But I love this. He's really creating a large space where POLT cannot counterattack via ground for a significant period of time. So it's basically just going to be how much damage can HIDRA do with the Mutas.
Viking overstayed its welcome over here at the Overseer, as he will be able to pick that off, and this Overseer can be used as multi-purpose now, and probably to spot some Widow Mines if he tries to dive in and try and do a little bit of damage here and there. But there are already missile turrets covering the reactors as well as the tech labs for the most part.
Yeah. At this point, it's all about HIDRA just slowing him down. That 3rd orbital moving out is where POLT will make himself most vulnerable to any form of harass. Of course, the other side of this equation, where he blocks off the Marines from attacking, that the Ling counterattacks are going to be slowed down too. So he has to get to work on these rocks. That, of course, is going to take him a little bit of time, and then he wants to make big plays in this 3rd, which, by the way, he was already blocking with an Overlord.
Well, so what, from the Terran perspective, what are the trials and tribulations that POLT is going to actually have to face here on Secret Springs? Because we just haven't seen it all tournament, and now we get to see it in the very final game of the series. What does he have to face off? What is he worried about?
Heavy Muta play. As POLT looks to a potential long game, you can bounce between that main base and the 3rd so fast with Mutalisks. Like it's just one cliff away, which is a bit trickier for the Terran forces to deal with. Those Widow Mines you mentioned earlier are very important in defending positions like that. But he could also later on bounce between a potential 4th at the bottom position and the natural expansion. There's a lot of ways to abuse a Terran with Mutas on this map, as long as he can defend the frontal assault.
I was going to ask what is the Zerg scared of, but at the moment, HIDRA seems pretty well set up. He's got some good creep spread going in the middle of the map, getting his 4th base down to the right-hand side, and there's not too many units for POLT to threaten with right now.
Yeah, I really like that he takes this 4th base, and the reason behind that is because the 3rd is towards the north. If POLT wants to push to the right side, not only does he have to break those rocks, but he's exposing his 3rd to counterattack, since the rally will not pass by it, whereas he'd love to just push up to this base and attacking the 3rd where there's already creep situated. This is the ideal defensive position for HIDRA.
Banelings are to the south here in the Shroud, and POLT doesn't know about them just yet, but he does now, as the Widow Mines are going to try and set themselves up. The split there to keep some of those alive, but POLT has still a lot of forces here. HIDRA has to be very careful. His Mutalisks are way out of position to help this.
Yeah, HIDRA, you know, he's no longer just defending his third base. This is Game 7. He's defending his first championship title ever in StarCraft 2. He cannot let this go. He's going for a bit of counter-harass. And
he will get some of these reinforcements as they just stunned. That Marauder was literally stunned in fear as to try and deal with that amount of Mutalisks. These Marines reinforcements get themselves a few Mutas, so good start there by the Marines.
Yeah, HIDRA's built up a nice, strong force. He's focusing on upgrades, which is very important, but his are, they're close enough to POLT's that I wouldn't worry about that in that department. He just needs better engagements. He hasn't gotten what he needs so far, and losing the creep won't help.
Exactly. He needs to get that spread once again. The active creep tumor is on the way, but POLT is going to deny it in turn. This army, not the most impressive thing here from HIDRA, but he does have 21 Banelings in total, flooding in from the side here now to try and shut down this position, but there's a lot of Widow Mines here, set up in good locations. He's going to push him all the way up to this cliff face, though, and kill off a ton of that bio with the Banelings.
Yeah, he's retreating to some more Widow Mines, so this could still get dicey.
Okay, caught a few of those Mutalisks, but at the same time, they are still alive and good to go. Great focus fire there from the bio. Oh my god, some of those Banelings actually did 0, and now, without those Banelings, the Mutalisks are vulnerable. I have to fall back.
That was a phenomenal engagement for POLT. There are 6 Banelings on the way, Kalaris. Only 2 being on the map means that there is a big window open for POLT to push, of course. He's going to allow the Banelings to finish in exchange for having his units getting healed by the medevacs. POLT doesn't want to overstand because it could allow the inferior number of Banelings to get, unusually cost-effective detonations.
Yeah, POLT can be pulling this back at the moment. He has made such a strong series out of the very, very end of this. Now 160 supply against 160 supply. The workers on both sides looking good, looking healthy. This game is no over at all by any stretch of the imagination, as HIDRA is going to push in once again. Off creep, mind you, to try and kill off a lot of this bio, but he doesn't do enough to think that he is going to push on a lot more.
So many fights off creep. HIDRA's really pushing the issue here.
And here comes the reinforcements again. The Thor is trying to hold on strong. Will have to get picked up though. POLT is falling back. HIDRA realizes he's done quite a bit. He really wants that medevac with the Thorin. He gets it. Great pickup there by HIDRA to make sure that all the pressure is off of him.
This has just been such a wild game. HIDRA going toe-to-toe despite so many cost-inefficient trades. He's actually banking an absurd number of resources right now. He doesn't have the larva to spend it. He's been just distracted so much. I mean, he might as well just throw up a couple bases right now. He's now going to take the gases on the 4th. This is very important. This opens up that tech I was talking about that he used on Overgrowth. The tech to get the extra gas, to get the Mutalisks, to get the Banelings, everything that he needs to stop POLT in his tracks.
At the moment, it's 2-2 here for this bio, going up against what we have 2-2 as well on the other side of things. So HIDRA really would love to get up to that hive at some point very, very soon. 3-3 hasn't started yet for POLT, though. He doesn't really have the money available to him, certainly doesn't have the gas to get that going at all. Really wants to continue pressing here. He knows he has the creep all the way back, so trying to deal with all of this location and make something happen at that spot is best when there is no creep.
Yeah, HIDRA is now mining the extractors on his 4th base, so this is where he starts to get that gas income. POLT needs to make some big moves now.
And 3+3 weapons has started, even Concussive Shells. It comes into this game quite late with a lot of Lings on the way. How many Banelings does he have? He has 29 Banelings. There's not too many Widow Mines at the front of this, as the Banelings will roll forwards once again. More hit into some of those Thors, so at the front, and that is another win here for POLT. Quite a big one, actually.
Such a large wave of red pushing across the map. Most of the Banelings are gone. This means POLT could crack HIDRA open right here.
Those Banelings are taking a long time to actually morph in. A lot of those Banelings, though, that actually came through, did get a good connection. Those Mutalisks are pretty weak now. 11 of them in total. Here come more Banelings. The Widow Mines actually burrow. Can they do a lot of the damage to them? The Banelings have been able to clear up a good chunk of that bioforce, but POLT still has the supply advantage with the Marines coming across the map.
I mean, HIDRA still has his 4th base, but POLT is not going to give him time to build more Banelings. HIDRA squeezing out every single unit he can. He doesn't have larva. He's got money in the bank. He can't spend all of it. He lost his queens.
He has no more. Those Banelings are so important. Those need to morph in the wraparound here from the Zerglings. Mutalisks have to engage as well. Here come the Banelings, though, to shut down as much of this as possible. There are still Marines left over behind this. Picks them up, get them out of the way. The Marines and Marauders coming as reinforcement. The Thor ends up falling at the front. HIDRA trying to hold on desperately here to keep this going, but POLT has taken a 30 supply lead and is on top of this fourth phase, Nathanias.
POLT is slowly pushing his way towards a third WCS championship. Kalaris, I don't know if HIDRA can stop him at this point.
I can't believe it. The Queen ends up falling. These Banelings are the last ones he has available to him. He has one more Baneling, but this base is so important for HIDRA. GG! Ladies and gentlemen, an unbelievable performance by POLT and the recovery here in this best of 7, and he is your 3-time WCS World Championship Series champion.
Just absolutely amazing play by POLT to come this far, recovering from that 1-3 score to take the trophy for Season 1.
Unbelievable stuff here, unbelievable. And now we head over to our experts here after this best of 7 with POLT being the victor.